Wood River Health is my home for health.
Wood River Health is a one-stop shop for primary medical care, dental care, behavioral health, and social services. We care for the members of our community because they are our community. I'm Allison Croak, President and CEO of Wood River Health. Since 1976, our health center has provided high-quality, affordable health care to residents of Rhode Island and southeastern Connecticut. We are your neighborhood health center. Let us be your home for health.
Well, there we go.
All right.
Are we actually on?
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
Right, we're good to go, Ronnie. Ronnie, I guess I got to talk into the microphone. Huh? That'd be great, huh? If I talked into the microphone. Well, we're here at the pantry, and it's starting to fill up. And with my sidekick Ron, Coach Ron Spizzato, head baseball coach at Westerly High School. Head football coach at Westerly High School.
Yep. Thanks for having me again. It's good to be here.
It's a pleasure, man. It's great, and just want to say that this is probably about our 6th or 7th show that we've done with 321 Media, and that's important to remember. 321 Media, and that's where you can find Sal Moreno and Ron Spizzato and our friends when they come in, and it's easy as 1, 2, 3, 321 Media. Yeah, people say, it's just a little difficult getting a hold of you guys now. I said, well, you're on Facebook 24 hours a day. You can certainly get a hold of us.
Yep. Facebook, YouTube as well. I see it. When I'm watching stuff at home, it always pops up, and we get a lot of views, especially after the show. So that's what's great about a show like this. You can watch it afterwards.
Right.
And we definitely get a lot of our views after the show is over, because it is early, but we do get the morning risers that are up right now to watch us, and you get to see us in person instead of just hearing us.
Right. That's what is. You're exactly right about that, because a lot of people will come up to me and say, geez, I like it so much because I can, like you said, they can view it after. Whereas some of our competition, they have a tough time finding that podcast.
Yeah,
and I just have to help them find it. But this one is ready-made for the town of Westerly and surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's real easy. Like you said, on Facebook or YouTube, you just if you can't find, you just search 321 Media, and everything will pop up.
It'll pop right up.
Past games, basketball, football, baseball are all there, and all the past shows. So, it's a great little collection of little podcast videos for it, and it's really easy to watch us and listen to us anytime you want.
Yeah, yep, great. We've got some good stuff to talk about today. I got Ronnie's really he's kind of smiling today. He's got his mojo on. His baseball team that he manages is won 5 in a row. If I'm not.
Yep, five in a row. Our team's been playing really, really well, and they're excited, and they're playing very confident right now. The pitching, like I've been saying all along, has been unbelievable. And then when we can hit a little bit and play strong defense, really tough to beat no matter who we play. And it showed the past week and a half or so, winning 5 in a row, and coming back after that East Providence loss. So we're firing all cylinders right now, and we have a lot of winnable games next week as well. So we really want to keep climbing the charts there of Division I standings.
You're going to try to keep. You're going to keep. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to keep climbing the Bishop Hendricken ladder.
Yeah, we want to be playing, and we play them in Stonington the last week of the season. So we want to.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah, we want to be playing our best baseball at the end, and that would be a great way to cap out the regular season with a win against Bishop Hendricken, and then of course against Stonington, who was also playing very well in Connecticut right now. Yeah. They beat Charahoe the other day. I saw 6-4 interstate game like us the week before. But they'll be tough as well. So, and then we got four strong games next week as well with North Kingston.
We got 4 games.
Yeah, 4 games next. We got Pilgrim on Monday, then North Kingston on Wednesday, possibly Thursday. I got to check. But then Friday, Saturday, we have Connecticut games. We got NFA, playing at Dodge Stadium. That's going to be fun. And then,
wow,
and-
Dodge
yeah.
Stadium, yeah.
And then we got Fitch at home at noon next Saturday. So we have 3 out of 4 home games next week. So a lot of guys, a lot of families can come watch us play, and
Weather's
cheer
turning
us
nice.
on. And yeah, good thing we're not playing today. Our JVs got canceled today, unfortunately, because of the rain. But the weather last week was beautiful. Finally had nice warm weather. The sun was out. Winning baseball games, and got to see a no-hitter this week, so we can talk about that too.
Yeah. You're talking about Chase Collins.
Chase Collins with
throwing
an
a
amazing game he
no-hitter.
had. Yep.
Yeah.
He complete game 8 innings, which is pretty amazing, going 8 innings and still being under the pitch count. There's 510 pitches. That's all you can pitch, and through 8 innings, he didn't hit that mark. He threw 105 pitches, and 71 were for strikes. So that's pretty amazing when he throws 71 strikes in a baseball game.
Say that again for the audience out
Yep.
there.
So Chase ended up with 105 total pitches, and he had 71, I think, and we have it on Game Changer. 71
Unbelievable.
strikes.
Unbelievable. 71
Yeah.
pitches were strikes.
Yeah, I'll check right here, actually, just to make sure. But yeah. Game Changer is amazing, by the way. It's keeps all the stats for you, everything you want.
Say that.
Game Changer.
Really?
Most of the teams use it. Baseball, softball, little league teams use it. All ages. And if a family member or a fan can't make the game, they can follow along. It almost looks like a little video game on your screen.
Yeah.
And it's play by play, and but
I didn't know that.
It also keeps stats for you. So I can easily go to every game or do filter out games. And so with the Moses Brown game here, I go to the box score and then to our pitching. And let's see, it has Chase Collins 105 pitches, 77 total strikes, even more than I said.
Wow. That's unreal, huh?
Yeah, and that's rivaling probably a better actually outing than so Dean Pons in 2000 and I think it was the year before we won. I think it might have been 2021 where we beat West Warwick. He threw a complete game with only 80 pitches and 60 of them were strikes. That game was about an hour and a half. So.
Wow, that's an unreal. He didn't have as many strikes, but of course he didn't have as many pitches.
Too,
less pitches,
yeah. But yeah, Chase pitched amazing. He's been pretty consistent all year long. His worst performance still came in a win against who was it? It might have been Lincoln.
Cranston.
Well, he also pitched great in a loss as well. Yeah, against Cranston East, it was actually one of his better games. He threw a one-hitter that game. We couldn't score runs that game.
I tell people that, and they can't believe that you guys lost the game.
Yeah,
1-0.
Yeah, 1-0, and we could easily we're 7-4, and we could easily be 9-2. Those first.
Who were your other losses to?
So
I was trying to think.
The first 2 games of the season were 2 of the weaker teams that have shown that they're not that great. Is Coventry and Cranston East, where the Coventry game we made 6 errors and we left like 15 runners on base, and then Cranston East, we were playing a great game defensively. Chase pitched great, one hitter, but in the bottom of the 6th, we made 2 errors that led to their run, and we left 14 runners on base that game as well. We had our bases loaded twice. We had runners on second and third a couple times. Couldn't get the run home. Unfortunately, now that we're playing well, I don't think those games will come back and hurt us when it comes to playoff time. We're not definitely in the playoffs right now. The Division I standings are so close right now.
Yeah.
There's so many teams with winning records. I think in the RPI points, we're 8th or 9th with a 7-4 record. So
wow.
The top 10, 11 teams in Rhode Island are over 500, which is a pretty saying stat about the quality of Division I and the balance in Division I.
Right.
Henriken's undefeated right now. South Kingston just lost in a crossover with East Lyme. East Lyme's a very strong Connecticut team.
Always.
And so I guess South Kingston, Bishop Henriken, the top 2, and East Providence.
There's another team.
Yeah,
that was another loss.
Yeah, North Kingston's very good too, and they're in the top 4.
Go.
And then Cumberland's our other loss that we blew that game as well. We were up 4-3. We ended up losing 5-4. I think I left Fiore in one batter too much. And proved to be the difference. And when you're playing in Division One, when teams when they don't walk many batters, they don't make many errors. One little mistake or one wrong decision can make the difference. So
that's really unbelievable. And so you don't have much room for error right now. You've got a very, very good you got a good record, and you got a good record. You're playing good ball, but nothing's guaranteed. So there's not a lot of room for error, right? So the thing is that now's the time to really get up to see the Bulldogs play. You're playing your best ball. It's the most meaningful right now, and you get to see some top-notch pitching, a great fielding. And as I've always said, Ron, and you know that, I'm a little bit older than you, but if you don't in high school, if you don't walk guys and you don't make errors, you got a good shot to win the game, right?
Yeah, because there's not many teams throughout their lineup are going to hit consistently. So and it's kind of the name of the game in most baseball, in any level, but especially in high school and little league and middle school, where with the walks, you don't walk anybody, you don't give free runners. Really, if you lose the game, it's probably because of your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Too many walks, too many errors, and this leads to losses. The biggest differences that I've seen through this half a season in Division One compared to our seasons of Division Two would be, the quality of relief pitchers is a little better. Each team has a little more pitching, and defensively there's less mistakes. So, being in Division One, and if you want to compete, you got to do those two things also. You got to have the pitching, which we definitely do. I was just looking at our team ERA it's 1.04, which is pretty amazing for a Division One pitching staff. Our ERA is 1.04.
Whoa!
Which shows you
say that again.
Yeah, 1.04 is the team ERA, and you can. And with having a 7-4 record, how do you lose 4 games? Well, we made a couple too many mistakes defensively, too many errors, and couldn't get that timely hitting, and that's all it takes to lose a Division One game. So,
yeah, I can see that from the games that and I enjoyed going to last night's game. First of all, my wife was with me. She's like my rock, and she's recovered very well from all of her injuries. And plus, I got to see Kenny Collins and his grandson Dan
LaBelle. Yeah, they did a great job.
Do a good job there, and the crowd was good, and you played Narragansett, and you beat them 5-1.
Yep,
5-1. At least it was when I I stayed for the whole game, so when I left the game, it was over, so it was 5-1. And they give you a pretty hard time. It wasn't no Patsy game, that's for sure.
And they're a pretty good Division II team. They're right in the mix, and you expect them. Central from Providence actually moved down to Division II, so they're doing pretty well. Who else is pretty good down there? Charahoe's right in the middle.
Charahoe lost to Stonington.
Oh, you know who's very good? Yeah, they lost Stonington the other day. Barville's doing all right. North Providence was in first place. They actually just lost this week, but they're up there, and they weren't that good the last few years, and they're kind of starting to come around. And I feel we're besides our enrollment, I think we definitely belong in Division I, where we're doing very well, especially for our first year. But it kind of shows you if we were still in Division II, how good we would be, toward the top here. But winning
right.
two championships out of 3 years, and it's our players are ready for the challenge of Division I, and they're having fun. So
do you have to play any of these teams again?
We
like
play
Providence?
No, not many. If we play anybody twice, it's because we scheduled them that way.
Okay.
So with Charahoe, we do play again. And then South Kingston is the other team. We scheduled 2 games with South Kingston. So
they're a tough team.
And they're toward the top. So South Kingston's second place right now. What helps us against them is that we play them back to back with 5 days rest, and they have 2 games in between. So we're gonna have our best pitching ready to go. We'll have Mike Poole is gonna start one of them. Chase Collins will start the other, and then we still got Zach Miner, who I think is one of the best relievers in the state, and then Tom Fiore, who's one of our starters, but definitely can come in out of right field and come in relief. And we still got Jack Zabarini. We got James Hooper still. We still got a lot of pitching if needed, but
Zach pitched last night, right?
Yeah,
That was him. 20.
Yes,
number 24.
Yeah, 24. He pitched the last 2 innings. Still hasn't given up an earned run. We kind of defense fell apart that 1 inning with two errors, and that's how they got their 1 run. But Zach through a year and a half of varsity baseball, he hasn't given up an earned run yet, which is pretty amazing. He did give up an earned run in the non-league game last year, but all the league games that counted toward the playoffs, and this year hasn't given up an earned run yet, which is amazing.
Yeah, I was sitting behind Zach's grandmother, and he said, "Make sure you." I went to school with her, and she said, "Make sure you." This is my grandson coming up to bat now, and that's what's good about high school sports. As long as it doesn't seem to be as nasty as it used to be in Little League when I was playing. The parents and the fans are more well behaved, and I just love going up there and seeing the kids really give it their all. And you've got a good coaching staff, Ron. That's really, really special to see the way these kids play. I think they know that something going. They got something good going now. When you win 5 in a row, I think it's 5 now. They
5 in a row, and it's like 6 out of 7. I think we won. Yeah.
And tell us what Chase Collins pitches a no-hitter. And I saw it at the end of the game. You guys took a picture with him.
Yeah. Mike Poole took that picture, and it's what's really nice too with the graphics that we make all the time, and we post them on Facebook before and after the game, letting people know we have a game or letting them know the results of the game. And it's a very modern thing. We're older. Like, they definitely didn't have anything. Like, the internet was just starting to kind of take off when I was playing in the late '90s, and we didn't have any of that. You know what I mean? We do sometimes the radio would cover our games, usually football, but every once in a while in baseball. Right. But that was very rare, and now it's very rare not to have 3-2-1 media covering our games, and there could be a softball game and a baseball game going on in Wesley, and they might be doing both games. So.
Exactly. They can cover Stonington. They can cover a Prout, Charahoe. Yeah. And if I missed anything, Ben, just you can correct me. But it's really amazing what the technology has done, and also to have the people that can actually broadcast these things and are willing to do it. And I think Wesley, Charahoe areas, Connecticut, the southeastern Connecticut, you got some people that really love sports, and win or lose, they're going to be there broadcasting. This is the way this is the kind of the way it is. It's been in Connecticut for a long time, and now we're finally catching up with them. It's great. The Day used to do a lot of the broadcasting. I don't know if they started a little bit earlier than we did.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, this is going to be quite the year. And so, what games you got again this week? You start Monday?
Yeah. So we have Monday. We have Pilgrim at home, and then we got North Kingston on Wednesday at home.
And that's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, North Kingston's going to be a tough one, and that should be Chase pitching. So hopefully, I think it's his first outing at home too. He hasn't pitched at home yet. So.
What year is he, Ron?
He's a senior.
Okay.
And he's a late bloomer, and we're great to have him going back to his game against Moses Brown on this past was it Thursday we played?
Was it Thursday?
Let me see.
No, it was Wednesday.
Might have been Wednesday. No, it was Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. In that game, it was kind of funny how great he pitched. The MVP of that game was probably Mike Poole at first base. He scooped seven balls in the dirt, bouncing, scooping balls, backhanding balls at first base. One of those gets by, it changes the whole game. We only want, the game was so close where we just talked about this in Division I. You make one little mistake, and it's the game. If he doesn't scoop one of those balls, we probably lose. So many balls he saved for throws, and he was actually the go-ahead run in the top of the 8th. And that's what I'll talk about right here because it was pretty exciting 8th inning. In the top of the 8th, Mike led off. I don't know if he led off. Let's see what happened here. He got on base though.
Yeah, he was
And
according to the media.
Yeah. So let's go to the scorebook here, which is great. We can check it out and go play by play. So Mike led off with a single in the top of the 8th, and then Jaden Parker hit a double. So we actually had second and third in the 8th inning, no outs. And then Kevin Saglio hit a ground ball so that the infield's in. We have second and third. Kevin Saglio hits a very kind of a slow roller, a couple bounces to the third baseman. And he took a quick look at Mike, but he turned his back, and Mike was kind of shuffling, creeping. As soon as he threw that ball, Mike took off for home. And it really wasn't even a close play at home, and great base running by Mike. So, again, Mike, I have to give it up for Mikey. Even though Chase pitched an amazing game, Mike played a huge part in winning that game for us.
Let's talk about the next run that you got.
Yeah,
because it's a play right that tickles my heart. You don't see it done very, very often. And Lou Mazzucci, my buddy, was always saying that. Yeah.
And some of the parents that know baseball and Jamie, I know the athletic director, they'll kind of hint about bunting occasionally because I'm not a big bunter. We don't bunt very often. But 1-0, I felt right when I think that's the best time for a suicide squeeze. Right after you score a big run, either take the lead or tie the game, and the other team's kind of reeling a little bit. Everything's going on, crazy stuff's going on. Then all of a sudden, a kid's stealing home, and you lay a bunt down. And Tyler Falcone, amazing suicide squeeze bunt. Jaden Parker. It's actually the second game in a row that happened against who was it? In our win against our previous home game, we tried it. It was a bad pitch, so Jaden actually got credited with he stole home because the pitch was in the dirt and the catcher didn't make the tag in time. So we tried it 2 games in a row.
Wow.
Even though the bunt didn't get down the first game, we still scored the run, and then perfect execution against Moses Brown with Tyler Falcone's bunt and Jaden Parker once again, taking off and stealing home and
unsung hero.
Yeah, and Tyler actually got to first on that, so it was an infield hit single. It was a great bunt, especially suicide squeeze too. You got to put the bunt down no matter where the pitch is. The pitch could be 4 feet over your head. You got to try to hit it, because if the catcher fields that cleanly, he's going to make that tag on the runner stealing home. So it's a high risk play. That's why probably teams don't do it very often, but I felt it was a great time for it.
Right, you got to have the players to execute it, but you got to have the coach and the manager to give the signal, to have the courage to go for it.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody else in another position wouldn't want to chance it, but Ron, you did a great job making that call.
Yeah, and because you're always in the back of your head, you're always worried about the batter popping it up and then all of a sudden it's a double play. Especially, we had second and third, but the most riskiest time is with no outs or 1 out and the bases are loaded, because if you pop that thing up and everybody's moving, that could end up in a double play. It could end up in a triple play, really. So, there is risk involved. Anytime it's a bunting situation, a lot of people would think automatically that it's going to be successful, but it's not automatically successful.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, you're giving the other team an out. And, what's going through my mind, if we get a guy on first base, the goal is to get him the second pretty as soon as possible. Because if you get a hit, hopefully he's scoring.
Right.
Depending on where the hit is. With 2 outs, he's probably definitely scoring because he's taking off on contact. But going through my head is kind of like calculations here. What are the odds of us, one, stealing second base, and then letting the batter free swing? A ground ball to the right, a ground ball could get to the right side, could get that guy to second base, a slow roller, a base hit. He could tag up on a fly ball. A pitcher could throw a wild pitch. There could be a pass ball. There's so many chances that we can have to move that guy over. Now, is a bunt less risky than all that? And if it is, then I'll bunt. But if not, all we need is contact, possibly. You could a base hit. He could also walk. He could get hit by a pitch. So I'm in my head, I'm doing, what are the odds of this guy getting to second base without bunting? And that's kind of why I don't bunt a lot, because a lot of times you'll see that we might get it because you're also giving them an out, and you might hurt yourself having a big inning. If you're working for one run, that's a little bit different. Late in the game, you're down 1 run, or it's a tie game, and you need that 1 run to win. But also, I like trying to go for big innings and not giving the team any outs. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah,
if we're gonna get out, I don't want to give them an out
great.
by getting a bunt. So that's why I don't bunt a ton. But
maybe Jamie's listening.
That's
and,
all right.
And that's great. That's good. That's good. You're giving the logic.
And then you're always thinking too, because the first couple of games, we had all those base runners, and looking back, I would have definitely tried at least 1 or 2 suicide squeezes in those games. I almost did it in Cranston East. We had a runner on third. We were down by a run. Instead, I had those 2 guys swinging away, and they both struck out. That's like the worst thing you could have.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we struck out twice and didn't get the runner in. Where then thinking back, all right, I should have done a suicide squeeze because those 2 guys struck out anyway.
Listen, in Westerly history, one of the greatest teams ever at Westerly was my senior year. And we had Charahoe beat twice. First time we actually beat them. The second time we beat them, but some fluke happened, and we ended up having to play the game over again or something. It was just weird. And then they went, and guess what? They went on to win the state championship.
Yep.
Yeah. But here's the deal. I think the bases were loaded, or the bases were second and third. Coach Wright calls me over. This is what I was going to ask you about your signs. He calls me over and says, keep an eye on me. If I put my hand in my back pocket, I want you to suicide squeeze. I said, okay. So I went back to the batter's box. Bruce Boss is pitching, and he's just going to fire as hard as he could. And I looked at Coach Wright, and I didn't see him put his hand in his pocket.
Yeah.
So Eugene Aiello, the starting pitcher that day, was on third. And out of the corner of my eye, I said, oh, no, he's coming.
Oh, boy.
I missed the signal. And I did. I missed the signal. Eugene got thrown out at the plate.
Yep.
Right. And then I swung away at the next pitch. He didn't. The butt was off. And that ended up not only costing us a game, probably could have cost us a chance to go into deep into the playoffs. And not only that, with that team that we had, we probably could have won the state championship, because a lot of the state championship games back in those days, West Warwick, Westerly, Coventry, Charahoe, they were dominant.
Yep.
Just kind of like you guys are doing now.
And thinking about how, I was thinking about this the other day, how good the team, some Westerly teams were in the 60s when my dad talking about George Greer and that team, and thinking about all the good teams that have a lot of history to them, and then you're looking back and they not winning a state championship, and then the 2 teams I've had in 2022, 2024, 30 years from now, there's going to be stories about them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
hopefully they're all good stories.
And it's a great feeling knowing that winning championships for the town and for the school, when it's not easy to do, when there's so many great teams that came through here that don't have that, and they there's such great stories, and to listen to and hear about the history of some of those teams, and then to be a part of that myself, and in the players that have come through the last 3 or 4 years, and it's great that they'll have that those memories and stories for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, a lot of pride, Ron.
Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna go for a break now, and we're gonna tell you why you should come back.
If I can figure this out, but we might we might be eating through this, but
we're trying to figure this out. Yeah, we'll figure it out, and then we're going to tell you why you should come down here to the pantry, because one of the greatest places to eat breakfast ever, the pantry.
Yeah, we're going to order
Peach
soon
Street,
here.
Westerly, Rhode Island.
Yeah. So I don't want to hit end, because I don't know if I'll be able to restart it.
I know. Maybe
quick,
Ben.
If not, we'll see. We'll see if Ben. If not, we can talk.
Maybe Ben can do it from the studio, but maybe he's out and he can't do it. Maybe that's why he wanted us to do it. but we do need to take a break because
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know about if we're actually going to be on or not on. Okay, we'll take a break for a couple of minutes and we'll come back and talk some more sports. West Warwick picture he's Division 2, huh?
Who's that?
West Warwick.
West Warwick. Yeah, they moved up to. Whoops. They moved up from Division 3. Yeah. So I'll have a quick story about that because so their coach Rich Grenier, he coaches soccer at Cranston East, basketball I think at Tollgate, and baseball at West Warwick. With his son is he's like the main assistant with him. He was a good player in high school. I will say though, they're like the opposite of our mentality. Because he was coaching soccer at Cranston East. So 2 years ago, we played Cranston East in football away, and they were just finishing up their practice. So I was talking to him about baseball for a minute, and he mentioned that they were in Division 3, and he said, we would be competitive in Division 2, but in Division 3, we have a great chance of winning it. And I'm thinking to myself, who cares about a Division 3? Like it makes especially when it's not like West Warwick has 300 kids. If they're like a size school like Narragansett with 350 kids and they want to play in Division 3, then I understand. But West Warwick's a big school, and why would you want to play in Division 3 if you can be competitive in Division 2? And they are, and right now they got moved up. They lost in the Division 3 championship last year. They got moved up to 2, and they're doing pretty well. Like they definitely belong in 2. They had some battles with Wesley, even in baseball. Not when I was playing, but after me, I think they played them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we had some good games with them also in the last few years. We played them a few times before they moved down to 3. But that mentality with wanting to play down just to that's not how we are here. Like we kind of embrace this Division 1, and we all understand with the school enrollment that does Wesley belong in Division 1 in any sports? With the enrollment would say no. But if you have the talent to do it, and we were lucky enough to have 2 state championships, so there's not much more to do, you would say, you know what I mean? So go play up. And what really is unfortunate is if teams have good teams in Westerly, like say basketball, for instance, they've had some great teams and they get pushed up to Division 1 without winning Division 2. And then it's kind of like, do we really belong here? It's not like we've been winning championships in 2. In lacrosse, they did win the championship in 3, so now they're up in 2.
Yeah. They're doing well.
And it feels better that way because you won already.
Right.
And when you get moved up, like in football, we almost got moved up. If we won that Burrillville playoff game 2 years ago, we would have been in Division 1, which kind of stinks because, you get moved up without winning a championship. And, Division 2, I think, is where we, belong in football because of enrollment.
So.
And, we have a team with we end the season usually with 38, 40 players. That's not really a Division 1 type roster. We're talented like a Division 1 team with our starters, but just like any small school, our depth kind of isn't that great. You get 1 or 2 injuries and it's a different team. As it showed in the playoff game with a couple of our guys banged up or out of the game, it makes a huge difference. So but we love, if we ever got moved up in football too, we would embrace that. And because we do want to be the best in the best program in the state. Like I said, we want to do the same thing in baseball. But the goal is this year, I think we have a great shot at winning that Super Bowl in football. So, if we get moved up, we'll embrace that. But I really want to bring that state championship to Westerly that we haven't had in over 20 years. So,
yeah, that'd be great. And just to clarify, though, when you're talking about moving up to Division 1, there's a couple of different. I got to say this. We're at the pantry, and this place is really filling up. Food here is really, really good. Listen, what I'm talking about is on the Division 1. Do all the teams? They still have the 14 Division 1, or
no, not anymore.
Okay.
Well, but the playoffs are separated, but we're gonna order here, and let's see what we're gonna have.
They let us eat.
Oh yeah.
This kid.
With the eggs Benedict. Yeah.
What's that special up there? Nutella bacon.
Banana.
What's a sweet? Oh, that's a meatball hash. Yeah, I don't think so. Let me do the Oh, that's got I don't want that. It's too foreign. Could I have the standard?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have over medium with what's the sauce? Is it
Links or patties? Your choice.
Links or patties?
Yep.
I'll do links.
Okay. Home fries or hash browns?
Home fries.
And what kind of sauce?
Yeah.
White, wheat, rye, sourdough, Italian.
Yeah, I'll do a rye. Thank you.
So with Division One in football, so for a couple of years there, they did almost like an elite division there, but it was still called Division One. It was only Hendrick and LaSalle Central and North Kingston. So it had two of the private schools and two of the top public schools at the time, and then Division Two. So a lot of those perennial Division One teams like East Providence, they moved down to Division Two, and this is like the first time probably ever, and now they're still in Division Two. But the difference is now is they did go back to a 10-team Division One, but they do two separate playoffs.
That's what I was thinking.
So they're the top 4 play for like the state championship, and then 5 through 8 play for, or they actually might have been everybody. I don't know if it was 5 through 10, but I think it might have been just 5 through 8. And they played for technically the Division One championship. So North Kingston came in 5th or 6th place and ended up winning technically the Division One championship. And 20 years from now, you get to say, you're Division One champions. No one really knows you didn't have to beat Hendricken or LaSalle.
Right.
So in Rhode Island, there's 5 state champions, which is kind of a lot. You know what I mean? So you have the state championship, then you got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and because it's not by enrollment. You know what I mean? You Division 3 and 4, you're giving state championships to like the 20th best team in the state. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
When I personally think, and I've said this before, that especially in football, the enrollment really in all sports should be a little more. I'm not saying it has to be 100% like it is in Connecticut and Massachusetts, but it should be up there. It should be more like 50%. And like a team like Narragansett, I was talking to their baseball coach yesterday. They only have like 400 kids in the whole school. I think it was 300 something. A team like that should never have to play Division One in anything. I don't think. Why should a team with 380 students be playing Central with 2,000 kids, or East Providence with 1,600?
Yeah,
that's why I joke with the East
Providence
coach. I joke about too, but in Division Two, when he's like, oh yeah, if we both were in Division Two, we'd be, it'd probably be us two again. And I'm like, well, you guys have 1,600 kids in your school. We have 600.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You guys shouldn't be in Division Two.
It's my understanding that they have something. I don't know if all the schools do, but North Kingston has like a program where you could be in the Charahoe area or Westerly area, but I'm saying say Charahoe, and then you can go to North Kingston and play football.
Yeah, so we have a program like that too, like a Pathways program. I think it's called.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
I was told though I'm not sure if it's true if you have to be a freshman and start as a freshman for that Pathways program, or if you can like transfer as like a junior and join the Pathways program. But that and in the Pathways program, think of it as like similar to the Charahoe's like tech program that they've been famous for forever. So it's like Charahoe's program that they've had, but now every school has one almost.
Right.
So we could get kids from out of town too, but the problem is with us, like the Pathways, you can't go from one state to the other. So we're right on the border with Connecticut, but we can't take Stonington kids or New London kids if they have that address. But we could get a kid from Pontigansett if they wanted to, all the way from Northern Rhode Island. But the problem is like our Pathways program is a pretty good one, but it's hard to get that out there because if someone's in Coventry, are they going to go to Charahoe for theirs? Probably. They're so much closer. Why? And they're more well known. And so we don't get too many athletes to our Pathways program. I'm not sure the actual numbers of how many students we get in there, but I haven't seen any come my way for baseball or football that came here through that program. But that's how you do it, though. You can get kids from out of town.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to one of the bartenders at the Havisham, and she her son attended North Kingston in the Pathways program.
Yeah,
and he got a couple of concussions, and she said that's it, no more. So he just quickly before like school had just started, so he just changed back over to Charahoe. But he was in the 9th grade. So
yeah, I think you have to do it in 9th, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
I don't know the story.
in Charahoe,
I'll
you don't have to
probably
be.
see her tonight. Probably. I think we're probably going to stop in tonight. I'll just ask her about that because it seems kind of weird that this pathways thing, but because it's like you're going to the school just to play because it's got a good football program.
That could be that could be motivation. You know what I mean? But there a lot of play like that that's almost like a loophole kind of, but the majority of students that do these pathways are doing it for the education.
For the education,
whether
yeah,
it's
okay.
Coach Dwayne Miranda does a great job with that. The EMT, I'm not sure the exact name of it, but you're training them for being an EMT or that type of profession. He does a great job, and I think that's part of the pathways program.
Right.
So you could get kids in that way if that's what they want to do, and he teaches CPR and first aid treatment and all that. He does a very good job with it. So.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring something to the attention of the listeners out there. The Westerly Athletic Hall of Fame is having their banquet next Saturday night, and there's really, really good candidates going in. You got the Liz Crusoe, and you've got Hannah Dobson. You've got Big John Caradillo, Piper. You've got I can't remember the older guy's name now. Elmer Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you've got
Frank, right? Frank Abate.
Frank Abate. So if you have any intention of going, contact the main office at the Westerly High School, and they'll get you a ticket. And it starts at 6, cocktail hour, and the speaking program in the dinner starts at 7:00. So that's something that I know my cousin Jimmy Morano, who has been the chairman for, I don't know, we had him on the show a few weeks ago, and I had it right, and I think it started in '98, but maybe '97. Anyway, get up there and get your ticket. That way they can get a count, and the food is really good at the Havisham. And also it's a very inspirational to see some of the people that are making the Hall of Fame. I mean, they're all good, so I can't favor one over the other. So everyone I mentioned is really good. You know Frank Abate. So we know you probably don't. I don't know whether you know Hannah Dobson or Liz Crusoe. Liz was two of the best basketball players ever at Westerly High School. Good athletes. Liz, I wouldn't want to get into a fight with her. She'd probably knock me out. And of course, Piper. Nothing has to be said about Piper. He didn't get his name because he was a weakling. Yeah. Anyway, that's that, and just want to let you know that we will be here again next Saturday at Westerly's finest diner, the Pantry. It's great food. And what did you get today?
I got the eggs Benedict.
All right, and I got the
favorite of mine.
I got the everything of what all American breakfast with sausage, eggs, home fries, rye toast, and we got smiling white server over there. What's your name? What's your name?
I'll take a few more. Thank you for that. Very good coffee too.
We gotta get your name. You do such a great job.
Thank you.
In fact, everyone does a great job. What's your name?
Jill.
Jill. All right, Jill. Server. I have a special soft spot for service because my wife was a server for about 40 years, at least, and 32 years in the same building. Uno's Pizzeria. Yeah. Remember that place?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. She was right where that building is. She was in that building for 32 years. When the flood hit, it wiped it out, but then they just rebuilt it right on the same right in the same foundation. So anyway, I have a special spot for the servers and bartenders. And come on down. There's a couple tables open. Probably the weather influenced that.
Keep filling up the coffee. I feel like beginning of Reservoir Dogs, that movie, when the guy Says he wants his coffee filled five or seven times.
It's
Every
about
time. It's early. Cutting my Friday night short here.
yeah. Do you know this pitcher from West Warwick?
What's the last name? We
Bert.
haven't.
Bert.
No, we haven't played them in a few years.
Yeah.
They've kind of they've been beating up on some of the weaker Division II teams lately. With Situate moved up from 3 to 2. They've been struggling. Johnson's down this year. They had Juan Urena, who's at URI now. We had some battles with them.
Yes.
They lost a lot. They're not doing well right now. I don't think they've won yet. They might have one win. So Johnson's down, Situate's down. So Division II looks a little different. This year you had
Less competitive.
Yeah, you had us, Barrington, East Providence all moved up, and Barrington, who we beat 8-2, is 7-2 in Division I right now. They're doing great.
Wow.
And that's what, and we beat them 8-2, and that's what shows you make one or two mistakes, so you have an off day. Anybody can win in Division I. Every team is good. That's what I've noticed, that even Cranston East, who has one win, and it was actually they have two wins now. One of them was against us, and that one game they played against us, they might not, their pitching was amazing. Like I said, we left 14 runners on base, but their defense was good, their pitching was good, and if they were in Division II, they'd be in middle of the pack. So it's not like
It's unbelievable.
There's not many bad because we talk about realigning and reclassification of teams. Rhode Island, it's more performance based. So usually the divisions are somewhat even unless you get moved up and all your good players graduated. Then that's how you have bad teams. But Division I is a solid division. Even the bottom teams are very good.
Yeah, we get a lot of teams competitive in Division I.
Oh yeah,
in Rhode Island.
If you look at the standings, we're in with PowerPoints, we're like 9th with a 7-4 record.
How do you figure
I
that?
know.
How is that different? How is Rhode Island different from Connecticut?
So with the PowerPoints, not too much with PowerPoint. It's actually pretty close.
Okay.
The only thing, the classification is way different. Like it's all enrollment in Connecticut. So Stonington could win 5 Super Bowls, 5 state championships in a row, and they wouldn't get moved up unless their school got bigger, or if they wanted to. You can if you want to move up, you can. Like New London in football, probably 15 years ago now. I think when Cochran was there.
Yeah.
Like they were
Jack Cochran.
They were Class S, I think, but they wanted to go to Class M.
Yeah.
So if you want to move up, you can. But I'm pretty sure like it's almost 100% based on enrollment. So that's the difference between Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, because that Situate Massachusetts football team that we're going to be playing September 5th. They're even though so there's 7 divisions in Massachusetts. They're Division 4, but they were 14-0, and the reason they're in Division 4 is because their enrollment. They have 750 kids. They're actually still bigger than us. So Westerly would be around either Division 4 or 5 in Massachusetts.
By enrollment. Yes.
Because this Situate team last year was good enough to beat a lot of their Division 1 teams. So just because they're Division 4 does not mean they're not Division 1 caliber. So
I was thinking it would
yeah.
be an easy game,
no, so there's big schools like Durfee is in Fall River. They have like 2,000 kids. You have New Bedford that has like 2,000 kids. They're all in Division 1. So this Situate team could beat those teams. So you know what I mean. So it's going to be. But they did have 28 seniors. So I'm kind of. We'll see what we're getting into when we play them in September. But it's going to be. It's going to be a good game. Thank you. Ooh, food looks great.
Yeah, food does look great. Yeah, so come on down here to the pantry, man. It's right almost in the middle of town on Beach Street, man. Look at the food. Ron's got eggs Benedict with home fries.
I'm a big fan of hollandaise sauce. Hello.
Yeah. So maybe we can take a
maybe
take a
talk
second.
as we go here.
Talk as we go. Now, you're playing Situate, Massachusetts, Division 4, but they beat a lot of the Division 1 teams in Massachusetts.
Yeah, they it's a mix of games, and they can play out of division games as well. And I think they did play a couple of higher classification teams last year in their 14-0 state championship season there.
14-0.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they had 28 seniors.
Yeah, right.
I did see a post on X the other day from Situate's football page there that I follow, and they've so far have 9 players from last year's team playing in college next year. So that was a great team they had. If you have 9 or 10 college football players on your team, you're a good team.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're sitting down eating our food here right now, and we want to just say thank you to the pantry for having us all. The pantry for having us all these, and we're going to keep it up. Keep up the good work here. People are really enjoying themselves. They look happy. We got a gentleman across the way with a UConn shirt. There's no telling that who he roots for. So it's UConn Huskies, right?
Yep.
I cheer for UConn, especially the women. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, the women, they've been dominant.
Oh my
UConn.
God!
For years and years.
That championship game was unbelievable this year when they beat South Carolina.
I will say the women's basketball definitely has more, I would say, strategy involved. So if you like coaching and seeing, it's almost like old school basketball, a little more strategy.
Right.
It can be exciting to watch, especially the good teams that actually can make shots and you know what I mean. So
I like the way they play. They play like we used to play when I was a kid. Pass and cut. They actually have plays, and it is. It's actually more enjoyable to watch. I think that's it's just my opinion.
NBA can be hard to watch sometimes. They don't play much defense. It's really like you really don't have to tune an NBA game on until the fourth quarter when they actually start to play a little bit.
Exactly, that's right.
The first 3 quarters are almost like for the fans and kind of almost fooling around half the time. Playoffs, though, they start to buckle down. So the playoffs, you see a little better NBA product.
Yeah. Oh no. We have to mention that the NFL draft, and because you're a Patriot guy, right?
Yeah, not as it's a weird story for me. So I obviously Patriot fan growing up, and in '95 I remember when they got, because I really was a huge fan of Drew Bledsoe. He was kind of the Patriots savior there when he got drafted in first round in '94. With them getting that Super Bowl against the Packers, I remember following it, being so excited for him, nervous in the games, like I was a coach or something. And I went to college in Massachusetts at Framingham State.
Yep.
When they won their first Super Bowl. And it was great, being in Massachusetts. Obviously, everybody there was fired up and running around. Everyone went outside of the college, and it was like a big party out there. The problem is what turned me off a little bit is that once they started to win, a lot of people became fans. And being a fan my whole life when they were bad, watching those Steve Grogan teams and Tony Eason.
No question about it.
So you have all these people, especially with social media. So you see them posting, and it's like, well, where were you a few years ago when they were terrible? You know what I mean? So it kind of turned me off a little bit with everybody all of a sudden being a Patriot fan. And it kind of turned my father, too, was a huge Patriot fan. But once they started winning, he really didn't like Belichick. He wasn't a huge fan of Tom Brady. So it kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. I never chose another team or anything. I just but now that they're kind of the underdog again, Vrabel, I really like him, and
me too.
So I'm a big underdog guy. So obviously I kind of want them to start winning again.
They got 3 pass receivers in the draft,
and one of them, for college teams, I do like Boston College has always been my hometown college team, but I also really like the Miami Hurricanes. And so Cam Ward being the number 1 pick, it also crazy with the transfer thing because he started at Houston, Cam Ward. I think he transferred a couple times, but he ended up in Miami, and he had a great season. And unfortunately, they had a tough couple losses there that kind of knocked him out of the playoffs. But some controversy I'm seeing with Shedeur Sanders not getting drafted yet.
Yeah,
but the reports that I see and the people that know what they're talking about, I really think like he's just overrated. They don't. He's really not that good. He's all right, but
Right.
the reason he was kind of in the talk for a round 1 pick anyway was because he was hyped up, and you know, I think you're better off in this instance going late. Tom Brady was one of the last picks in the draft, and you know, not a lot of pressure on you. You know, he's gonna, you know, because he talks a lot. You know, his father does a lot of talking for him.
Yeah.
Which also could be a turn off to the teams. They might not want that type of baggage with his father. You know what I mean? So, you know, really, you know, I don't think it has anything other than his personality and, you know, his play on the field. I really just don't think he's that great.
I think mediocre, but
I don't know how do you get your number retired when you go like 13-12? I kind of feel bad for Cordell Stewart there.
Yeah.
The quarterback that used to play for the Colorado Buffaloes. That had a great. I don't know if because they did get a share of the national title one year, and nobody from that season got their number retired. But you go 500 and you get your number retired. It's crazy. It's not. It's, you know, it's all hype and it's not realistic. So he's not really a round 1 player. They might try to hype him up to be, but he's not. He does. So in a couple knocks at him, like for reasons why I don't think he's that good, is he holds on to the ball too much and he takes way too many sacks. And you know, if the first guy is not open in his progression, that's when he starts holding the ball, and it seems like his decision making, once the first or second options aren't open, that's when he kind of starts to break down. And he's got great speed and elusiveness, but it doesn't seem like he goes to that enough, to be honest with you. And you know, he's just not that great of a pure passer. So he will get drafted, and you never know. Like he'll probably get drafted to whenever the next is. It today the third and fourth rounds?
Yeah,
but,
I think I think the rest of it is today.
But you never know that's kind of what you want. You know, he'll have a chip on his shoulder. He'll like, all these teams passed on me, and you never know. He might have a great career. You know, so many of like Mel Kiper and McShay, and you know, even though they think he should have been drafted already, those guys are wrong all the time.
I know it.
Like those guys get paid millions of dollars to do all this research, and you know, they take
most of the time they are wrong.
bad
You're right.
takes. There's been so many first round busts where you know the money's the reason why you want to get drafted in the first round. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? You get drafted first round, you get first round money, and that's kind of what you. But you know, Shador's coming. He comes from a rich family. More of it's like an ego thing, and you know. It's he just got built up to something that he really wasn't. He's an all right quarterback. He deserves to be in the NFL. But you know, saying he's a division a round 1 or 2 pick is a little bit of a stretch.
I'm so glad the Giants passed on him. Some people were crazy.
They got the Dart guy, right?
Yes,
he's pretty good. He's from Ole Miss, I think.
And they traded up to get him, I think. I'm pretty sure.
They had 2 first round picks.
Yeah. So I'm glad the Giants made a good choice there, not picking.
Hopefully that they picked that defensive end first.
Yeah.
They call him an edge rusher now. They like change the names of the positions. An edge rusher instead of a defensive end, they call him.
Right.
Now. But when they beat the Patriots in that Super Bowl, I forgot the year, but it was when the Patriots were 18-0.
That's the one again.
And when the Giants beat them, it was because of their defensive line. They were getting pressure on Tom Brady all game long with the 4 rushers.
Yep.
So they didn't have to blitz. And I forgot the name now. The defensive line and defensive end there for the Giants back then.
Yeah, Tuck.
Yeah.
But then the other guy was can't remember.
Between his teeth.
He was. Oh, you're talking about Strahan.
Yeah, was he there? Was he still there back then? I think he was.
I think
right?
yes, that was
For
his
one of
last
them?
game. Yeah. I think But you had Tuck, and you had
that defensive line was great.
there was another lineman that was coming into his own. They put pressure on Brady all day long.
Yeah.
Now
Had a little bit of luck with 2, but you know
I would just to go back to what he said about the Patriot fans and
they're nowhere to be found now.
Yeah. When I met my wife, she was a diehard Patriot fan for the same reason that most of them were. That snow game that they lucked out and won
with the Raiders. Yeah.
That's what made her a big Patriot fan. I was a Patriot fan along with the Giants. My teams both were Giants. I was because we're really a diehard Giant fan. But I like the Patriots. Once they started winning, now it was after they got Brady, because they all of a sudden they became like, oh, we're entitled to win these games all the time. Well, no, you're not. And don't forget, you got a lot of breaks.
Yeah, they did.
And I know I take a lot of criticism when I say it, but they actually lost 2 of the games that they won. One was the they get the ball on the 3-yard line, first and goal. Seattle, I'm talking about, and then they decide to throw a slant in at the goal line, and a guy named Butler intercepts it.
Yeah.
And game's over. But as it was,
Seattle should have won that one.
Belichick had given up. He had taken his headphones off.
Yeah.
They had given up because they knew they were going to lose. But the stupid coach for Seattle decides to throw the ball, and Butler intercepts it. There's one. Now that was the most obvious. The second one was the one the Patriots like to always say, well, we really deserve to win. No, you didn't deserve to win the game against the Atlanta. Atlanta's got the ball at the 20-yard line, right? First down. Yeah. Just take 3 knees and kick the field goal. Game is over.
Yep. Some coaches make a lot of money and make the wrong decision a lot of the times, but I know how that is. Doesn't matter how much money you make. Sometimes you make the wrong decisions.
Yeah, that wasn't quite so obvious as a Seattle game, but it was still a big blunder.
Marshawn Lynch, who was running great, especially that fourth quarter, and you don't give him the ball on the 1-yard line. It's
Come
crazy.
on.
I couldn't believe it when that happened.
Well, he just what's his name? Who's the coach now? He's coaching the Raiders.
Pete Carroll.
Unbelievable.
He's a good guy, but he seems like the players really like him.
Yeah.
He's a player's coach, but that was a bad decision.
So the draft,
and it's haunting him too, because I still think back on calls that I've made, and I'm not on that stage as he is.
You're not making millions of dollars.
Still bothers me.
Which one bothers you around?
Well, there's a few now that going back to 2018, we lost it was 19 when we lost to Burrillville up there in the last regular season game.
I was there.
We went for 2. I just wish I had a better 2-point play in that game, and then the Super Bowl the semifinal game in 2018 when we fumbled. Tristan fumbled there. We called a little different formation than we were doing, and it made the edge a little weak, and that's how the guy kind of got in, and his hand just knocked the ball out of there.
Yep.
So there's little things like that, and then obviously, baseball decisions too. Like I said earlier against Cranston East, not trying, a suicide squeeze or, second guessing your pitching, like against Cumberland. Left the starting pitcher in there, one extra batter that I should have taken him out. Things like that, you know what I mean? So it definitely, you got to try to put those things behind you, but you definitely think about them sometimes. And, someone, if you're on a big stage and you make one of those mistakes in Super Bowl or World Series, I'm sure that it must bother those coaches and managers and players. You mess up or if you make an error in the World Series or something, like Buckner's error, he was actually in there just to celebrate. But, you make that type of error, that must really bother you the rest of your life. And I can see it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's going to bother you.
Yeah. That I forgot about that Buckner play. Woo.
Yeah.
Well, the Red Sox look like they're playing good ball now, though.
Yeah.
Switching over to baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees took a loss last night at home to Tampa, and they're playing this afternoon, but maybe not with the rain. They might not play, or they might move the game up to like early evening, something like that. But,
and I was taking a look at the standings here. A lot of balance in Major League too. A lot of it's really tough for teams to be dominant because your pitchers go like 5 or 6 innings now, so you know, which I hate. But you have, you know, the Yankees are in first place, 15-11, and the last place team's only 4 games out. The Orioles,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like that in all the divisions except for the White Sox. The White Sox are awful, but besides them, every other race is really close.
Yeah.
You get the Orioles are in last, only 4 games out, and then the Angels, the AL West. Angels are in last place, only 2.5 games out. So that's
oh my God.
one of these years. I want to see the Athletics get up there again. You know, with their, you know, with the old, now it's an older movie, Moneyball. There.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because you watch that movie and they're like analytics thing, and one thing that they're definitely right about is the on base percentage. I look more at your on base percentage as well, just like, you know, the analytics and that were in Moneyball. It's way more than just on base percentage, but in the movie, the on base percentage was like the number one thing in how they're picking players and setting up their lineup. And I've always taken that same approach. Like, I don't really, if you get on base, that's all that matters. I don't care if it's an error, which an error does count against your batting, your on base percentage. But if you're getting on base because of a walk, an error, you know, it doesn't really matter. You're on base, so
you're on base. Exactly.
You need runners, and
that's important, Ron. That's good. That's a good philosophy.
Like, in all, there's more hitting, you know, in the MLB, but like another strategy they had was almost no bunting because they didn't want to give the other team an automatic out.
Yeah.
And and they didn't steal very often because they're trying to not generate outs. You know what I mean? They're trying to make the other team get you out. The stealing thing, I can see their point of view, but like with us at the high school level, if we're not sacrifice bunting a lot, we got to be able to steal second base. And over the course of these last 5 games or so, we have been stealing more, which I think has really been kind of giving our offense a boost. We've been getting those runners in scoring position. We've been taking chances on stolen bases, and it's really paid off for us. So
now, when you go into extra innings, do you follow the Major League Baseball rule?
No, we don't. It's regular baseball, and
that's what I figured.
The funny thing is also Moses Brown. They don't have lights either. So we started at 4:30, and you know, with the good pitching though, both guys were pitching very good. You know, the game was speeding along, but then all of a sudden, you know, we're going extras, and now it's possibly starting to get dark a little bit, but. We got the game in. We scored those 2 runs in the top of the 8th, and you know, Chase put it away in the bottom of the 8th there. So it was a good game.
Yeah, that leads me to another topic, and it's I attended the game last night, and sitting in the bleachers, and all of a sudden, Coach Sposato comes walking out of the from behind the dugout. That's where they must have the circuit breakers for the lights. And as you know from last week's show, we figured we might not get lights till next year.
And all of a sudden,
here's Ron. He's like Moses potting the sea,
the Red Sea there.
And the Red Sea, and the lights come out. They're a beautiful sight, though, Ron. Huh?
Yeah, it was nice to see them because they're brand new. You know, halogen lights, and you know, I'm glad they were able to get them working. They're temporarily working right now. They have a temporarily fixed with the wiring. They're going to kind of redo the whole thing after the season.
Yeah,
but it's great to see that they're at least usable for now, and at least we can finish our season in case it gets dark for some of our games. I don't know if we'll move any of the games back to a night game because I know our senior night game against Stonington was supposed to be a 7:00 game. They got moved up, so we'll see if that gets moved back again to nighttime.
Oh, because of the lights, yeah.
Most of our games will probably stay at the time they were changed to, so you're probably not going to get many games starting past 5:00. But a game like that, we might be able to move it back.
Right.
It'd be nice to play them at 7 p.m. in May when it's nice weather. So.
Right. Well, listen, Ron, it's time
to go.
I think the clock on the wall says that's all.
Yeah.
Where's the clock, right? That's the old saying. It will be Lou Mazzucci leads go. The clock on the wall says that's all, Sal.
Goes fast here.
Yeah, it goes fast, and it's a lot of fun.
It's getting packed in here, too.
Yeah, getting packed. A lot of people like this place. It's nice and casual. Got plenty of seating, good service, good everything here. So it's fun. Come down and have a bite to eat. And I tell you what, if you haven't come down today, make sure you come down next week because we got a Kentucky Derby special show and we can almost guarantee you that we're going to pick the winner in the race. So come down and listen to us, and we'll have some handicappers available just in case you want some tips.
Yeah,
Wesley's filled with handicappers.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
and
As you well know, with that Oak Street upbringing that your mom has.
Yeah. I have to call my friend Paul Brayman. He's a big he knows some horse racing.
Yeah.
I have to do some research and come with my pick next week.
All right.
So for baseball, we're home on Monday, 5 p.m. against Pilgrim. So
5 p.m.
A chance to come out and see us play, and Mike Poole will be on the mound, and
Mike's gonna play.
It'll be Mike, and then
how about Wednesday?
And Wednesday we'll have Chase against North.
Oh
Kingston.
my God, the no-hit guy.
Yeah, we're gonna be home both those games. So great time to come see our best pitching, and hopefully we play our best games and we win 2 more and make it 7 in a row, and keep it going against NFA at Dodge Stadium on Friday, and then home against Fitch on Saturday. So it's a big week. We got 4 games.
No, NFA and Fitch are two huge schools.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't shy away.
No,
we like playing those tough teams.
Man, I guess so. Do you get points for that though?
Oh yeah. And they're both large schools. Like, NFA's got over 2,000 kids, so that's definitely a Division I caliber game. Same thing with Fitch. Fitch has always been strong in baseball. They're also Division I caliber like equivalent. So yeah, hopefully we get some good points from if we win those games.
So the Monday night game is home. Wednesday night game is home.
Yep.
Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
You're at Dodge Stadium.
Yep, in Norwich. Yep.
And then Saturday you're
home against Fitch at noon.
Fitch High School at noontime.
And we're home.
I had one question. It was kind of bugging me. Is it West Warwick? I think it's West Warwick. Have they upgraded their facilities as far as turf and stuff goes?
So they've always had a pretty good baseball field. McCarthy Stadium. It's called McCarthy Field.
Yeah.
The middle school championships has been played there for a while. They actually and it was always pretty nice anyway to begin with. They did redo their infield 2 years ago, so it's probably beautiful right now.
Yeah. I enjoyed what I did catch that game on 321 Media last Saturday. That was when that was Charahoe. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Charahoe, not West Warwick.
Charahoe. So Charahoe's field. The mound's better. I think they did some work on the mound.
Yeah.
The grass part of it and the actual field could use a little bit of work. I know they're trying to, especially with that turf farm right next door.
Yeah.
Get a deal on that stuff and it's almost like advertising for that turf farm.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they used to do. They used to get it from the turf farm, but there's no excuse me. There's no fence. Is there still
no fence? So left field has the woods, and it's pretty deep out there.
I see that.
In 2023, in a playoff game, Jack Tenuta hit one like halfway up those trees. I probably went over 400 feet. That was probably the farthest home run I've ever seen.
Wow!
I'm sure that doesn't happen very often over there. That ball's hitting that woods. That's far away, man. That's a shot.
Now your guys are not home run hitters.
No, we don't have too much power. I mean, Tom Fiore probably could put one out, and but we're not really consistent. We don't have the consistent power.
Right.
We got guys that can hit gaps and leg out doubles and triples, but probably not going to hit too many home runs. Similarly is a pretty big field. We do play on some smaller fields, but we're not a big home run team. I remember, I was a sophomore in '90 for the '98 season for baseball. And that was when Jerry Auth was a senior, and Chris Gincarella was the catcher.
Oh, wow. So
I only went to varsity games once the JV season was over. There was a bunch of seniors on that team, so I was definitely not cracking the varsity lineup yet. But I was on the roster for the playoffs, and I was like the bullpen catcher, and just a sub on the bench, and the amount of home runs that Jerry was hitting was amazing. I never seen anything like it since. Like it seemed like every other at bat, I think he had 9 or 10 home runs his senior year, which is it's unheard of.
And he was a pitcher too.
Yeah,
and Jerry is active in the Wesley.
Yeah, a lot of the players I have now were on his the Shoreline Surfers AAU program that he developed. And,
Shoreline Surfers, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Right.
So with Luke Waltney was on that team, and a lot of my sophomores were on it with you had like Holden Reed and who else we got there? Hackett played there for a little while, and Tyler Falcone all came up through that program. So
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
yeah,
Ron,
time to go.
unbelievable. Because the clock on the wall says we're
Yeah.
past due, but
Past due now.
doesn't really matter because we want to say thank you to the pantry, and we want to say thank you to our men and women in uniform. They're our real heroes, and thank you to Ron. It's a pleasure joining you every Saturday. Your knowledge and your speaking ability is second to none. I love
Thanks.
it. So
Thank you.
right now I'm enjoying watching this little kid demolish that fruit cup with whipped cream. So that's fun. So we're going to say goodbye to you and see you next week at the Kentucky Derby special right here at the pantry.
All right. See you later.
Thanks, Ron. Good job. Touchdown, West Philly!
A chance for the Chargers, and they score!
In the front, Fuzzy again.